Okay, I believe we are live. So first things first, sound check, sound check. Mic 1 2 1 2. Do you guys hear me? Everything on my end looks like it's working, but you know how it goes. I don't trust a dang thing. I'm gonna move this a little bit. And we are ready to rock and roll as soon as I know from you guys that we have a good sound check and that you can hear me and that you can see me. All the things. All the things. All the things, waiting for a response. While I am waiting for a response, I will start covering a little bit.
Hello, everyone.
Hello! What's up, what's up? We just got started, so nobody has missed anything. Is that Ray?
Yes, ma'am, I hear you.
Woo-woo! Sound check is going good so
Mhm.
far. Mrs. Dutman, hello. Letty's in here. We got Ashton already.
Yes,
Christy's
all the
here. All the things. Okay.
Hey, Ashton.
Guys, great news. I don't know what the heck I'm doing today because I didn't have a chance to actually practice this before we went into this. So you're going to see this as me going in completely blind. Never done this stitch before. Found this pattern.
Yes.
It's a diagram, so I'm going to be walking you through it. It's supposed to look, and I'll show you the screenshots in a second. Oh, I got a tickle in my throat. It's supposed to look like this. So I found this on Pinterest, and I will do all the things like I normally do. But let's get you guys a screenshot first. Let's pull this up and take your screenshots. Take your screenshots. Again, I've never done this one before. It did look a little bit on the predictable side. It does look like it's a legit pattern. I've seen a few people do different variations of it online, so I have an idea, but I've never done it myself. So I'm going to explain to you guys how I look at a pattern firsthand. I'm going to explain to you guys, you know, all the ways that I tackle it, especially if you've never done a diagram before. And since I've legit never done this one before, you guys are going to see exactly how I mentally like figure out what the heck is going on. So if you've never done diagrams, you're seeing it as raw as it gets. We like raw. I guess we do. I don't know. I don't know, but hopefully you got your screenshots. Take your screenshots. Good news is all of my classes, they are saved for replay afterwards. This will get dropped in the Get Hooked playlist. So if you guys ever want to go back and get your screenshots, this is all part of the recording. So it'll all be there. All right. I bought you guys plenty of time. Screenshots. You should have it. You should be good. Let's see here. Let's see here. You think you shared one like this in the cord? Possibly, Mrs. Dutman.
I shared one like this in the cord.
I've seen a few of these going around, and I just stumbled across on my Facebook page someone was doing something like it, but I think with single crochets instead of the doubles. So we're going to follow this diagram. And I learned and I was able to print a copy that's a little bit better than the one we tried to work on last week together. So hopefully this will help me better show you guys what I'm doing and how I'm thinking and all the things. But if you guys have questions along the way, please throw them in the chat. If you're watching this after it is no longer live, continue to throw your questions in the chat because I do go back and I answer everything. What's up, Kathleen? How are you? Katie! Long time no see, my love.
It's fun.
It does look fun. And what's good is it's a 2-color one. Well, I don't know if that's good or not. We're going to carry it through just because I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to do a small swatch because again, this is my first time doing it. Anytime you guys are trying a stitch for the first time, just use some scrap yarn and do a small section. You don't need to always commit to a project. And what's nice is then you end up with all these like references on how to do things after. So I do have 2 different colors. I'm just using worsted weight yarn.
Smiley face.
I'm glad. I'm so glad to see your face. I'm using 2 different colors. Hopefully it'll be easy to see-ish. I know they're a little bit brighter than I would like, and white is a little difficult to see. But the good news is the dominant color I'm going to do with orange, just because I have more. And the hearts we're going to do in white, so that'll minimize how much you have to see. I am just using what hook I grabbed, and I happen to have an eye and a 5.5 on me. But again, I don't think it really matters. You guys are going to be just practicing, and you can always make it a little bit more rigid. You can by sizing down in your hook, and you can always make it more drapey and open by sizing up in the hook. But I'm going to start with a 5.5 or an eye, whatever it is that you guys have on hand. I'm sure a 6 would work just fine. So take a sip of water, grab your yarn, 2 colors, and grab a hook and let's start stitching. And let me start explaining how I look at it. So I have this pattern. If you can print it off, it's easy because it's going to be easier for like to count and whatnot. But I do these on my screen all the time. So if you took a screenshot and you're referencing back after the fact, it's going to be just fine. It's going to be just fine. Now, right now you see a fixed number of stitches. There's a few things you're also seeing on here. Sometimes patterns come with this, sometimes they do not. This is your stitch key. So you can see that this means a chain. This means a single crochet, which is going to be these right here. This is your popcorn stitch or 3 double crochet stitches. That's what we're going to use with all of these. And then this symbol is your double crochet. If you didn't have this stitch in key, these stitch symbols, they're all pretty synonymous. So no matter where you go or what other, once you start memorizing these stitch keys and these images, they're the same wherever you go in whatever pattern. The only thing that I've seen change from time to time is sometimes the chains will sometimes be marked with a dot. However, usually a dot is a slip stitch, but sometimes you'll see some weird things like that. And you don't always have the numbers. So you won't always have the numbers. And you also don't always have the multiple. Why is this important? Today we're just going to mimic exactly what you see here. I will show you how to add one section just so that way you get the idea of the multiple. But let's say you wanted to then, after you learn this, and you want to go and make it a blanket or a scarf or whatever. The multiples helps you continue to add on to make the rows wider or longer depending on which direction you're crocheting. So you want to take a look at that. Sometimes patterns will notate them, but if it doesn't, it's real easy for you to see where the repeat is because you're going to start on this stitch. Everything here is additional, and then everything here is additional. Everything here is additional. And if you count, so this is where, yes, you do some counting in the beginning, but you're going to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if I wanted to stop there, I had the option. But if I wanted to add another section, let's see how many it would take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You could stop there. You can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can stop there or you can keep adding, and that is consistent with the multiples of 7. So you want to do 1 plus multiples of 7 until you get your desired size. So I know that was some math and some crazy thinking, but that's how these work, and that's what's nice is because now that you have this and you're able to learn the stitch, let's say you want to throw it on a beanie and you have your brim going around and you do your base row, and you're doing your base row of, in this case, double crochets. When you count all of these, you just want to make sure your total amount of stitches is multiples of 7 plus that first 1. So the 1 plus your multiples of 7, and that will allow you to take what you learned today and put it on any project that you want, whether it's a beanie, whether it's a scarf or a blanket or what have you. So that is kicker number 1. But now the other side of it is I am not going to chain. You guys know I hate chains. I don't want to do these 3 chains. We're going to do foundation double crochets to replace this first row. Your foundation stitches can always replace 9 times out of 10. I don't think I have found an exception, but just in case there is one, I don't want to go on record and say you can always do it when you can't. But whenever you have chain a bunch followed by a stitch, it can be replaced by foundation of that similar corresponding stitch. So instead of chaining a bunch and doing double crochets, we're going to replace it with the foundation double crochet. And I'm going to still do that in your multiples of 7 plus your initial 1 right here. So that was a lot of explanation, but now we can go ahead and start stitching. So grab your hook, grab your first color. I'm going to do orange as the base section, and then white is going to be our hearts, and then it will come back through with orange and white and orange and white and so on and so forth. So here we go. We are going to start our foundation double crochets, and what I do, leave a tail. It doesn't need to be crazy. We're doing your slip knot, so all you're doing is wrapping it around your finger, going along the back side of that loop, pulling it through until it tightens that so. Don't pull this through or you've just made a fancy knot and it's not even going to be one that works. It's just going to be one you have to undo and pull it tight. So again, we want the foundation double crochet. So to start, I like to chain 2. Many would argue that you should chain 3. I'm going to go ahead and chain 3 for this purpose, just so that way it's consistent. If you didn't know, you could always take a look on this side and you see the 1, 2, 3. That is supposed to simulate a double crochet. So hypothetically, 3 chains should mimic the height of a double crochet. 2 chains usually mimics the height of a half double. 1 chain usually mimics the half of a single. And then there's obviously, you can go up from there with your treble and all the other things. If you chain tighter, you may want to stay with the 3 chains. If you chain looser, you may want to start switching to a 2 chain on the side. 2 chains. A chain 2 on the side. It just all depends on your tension and how you kind of stitch, but you'll learn how to start changing that up as you keep crocheting and figuring out your style. So now I am going to start our foundation double crochet. You want to start just like you're doing a double crochet, and you've got to think of this. This is no longer part of your base row because normally your chains go across the bottom and your stitches go up. This is now the equivalent of this, but it's not going to count as a stitch. So we're going to be stitching this direction, and we're going to be stitching the bottom and the top of the stitch along the way because you are chaining as you double crochet. That's how these foundation stitches work. So yarn over, we're grabbing the bump on that first chain because that's the bottom of the stitch, and you're pulling up. It looks like you're starting a double crochet. You're going to add your chain here and then finish your double crochet. And we're going to be doing that along the bottom. So again, yarn over. This time you're not going back into the bump right here, but you're grabbing what becomes the chain right here. And I grab both of those loops. So, whoops, I got someone calling me and I need to decline it. Okay. So yarn over, grab both of those loops right there. That's what's going to create the chain on the side. And pull up 1. We've started our double crochet. We need to add our chain. And now we're going to finish our double crochet. If you've never done a double crochet, I have a video on it. It's in my tutorial section. I go heavily into the many ways to do double crochet with your both loops, back loops, and front loops, and I walk you through how it changes the look of that stitch. So if you need to practice it more in depth, check that one out. But until then, you can go slowly with me. Yarn over. We're grabbing those 2 loops because that's the bottom of your stitch. See how that's creating a chain there almost. You're going to pull up 1. You've started a double crochet. Looks the same. We're going to chain, pull up 2, pull up 2. So this is, just want you to see, this is what's going on. We're working that way instead of doing the chains and then the doubles. So we're working a little bit differently than how you normally do it. So yarn over, grab both those loops again, pull up 1, chain, pull up 2, pull up 2. Yarn over, and you're starting the double crochet. This is how I remember it. We're adding a chain, and then we're finishing the double crochet. Yarn over, starting the double, chain, finishing the double. Starting the double, chain, and finishing the double. Now remember, we wanted 1 plus multiples of 7. This one has 7 times 3. Oh goodness, now I got to math. We're not doing that. So we're just going to go 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now I technically have enough for 1 section, and I'm going to keep going. I want to add another 7 because that'll give me enough to repeat. Someone do 7 times 3. What was that? Is that 21? Oh my god, my times tables are done. No, that's 24. 7 and 7 is 14. 21. I got this. I got this. Is anyone out there stitching with me? I want to make sure I don't leave anyone behind if that is the case. Let me know.
21.
21. Okay, thank
21.
you. That's so sad, man. I was just making fun of my son, too, for not knowing his times tables. Oh, man. Well, there's karma for you. There is karma for you. So 22 chain, or 22 foundation stitches will get us what is in this image. And if we want to go to 28, that would be adding that additional 7 if we wanted
Just
to do
watching
that.
LOL.
Sounds good. We do believe in being creepy watchers over here, because that seems to happen a lot. That is how Miss Duckman earned her sticker. That is. So I am going to go for the 28, just so you guys can see. I've added 7, and that is how you do it. 28 plus 1, because we need 21 plus the 1 over here, and then we're adding 7. So that is where that is coming from. So 28 plus 1 is 29 total. Oh my goodness, I swear that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Christy, you're stitching with me? 25, 26, 27, 28, and on the last stitch you're going to stop 29, oops, right before we pull through that last one, and I'll show you why. This is how you change colors. But again, we have multiples of 7, which would have been 28, plus 1, so that's 29 stitches total. And on the last one, you're going to wait, because we're going to pull through with color B. So get that ready. Perfect. Okay, so I got Christy and I've got Miranda Ray stitching with me. So I will try to keep checking in on you guys. Okay, so we're pausing there so we can pull through with our next color. How do you do that? You're just going to leave a little bit of a tail. This is my cut end. This is the end that's going to my yarn ball. And we're going to pull through with that final one. And here's where it gets a little dicey. Hold on. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to pull it through. We're gonna have to fasten off. Okay, I was hoping we didn't have to, but because we're only doing one row of that color, we're gonna have to fasten off. So you can go ahead and cut your color A. And I know some people are very adamant about you don't knot your work. I am going to. First off, this is just a sample. Second off, depending on what you're using it for, you don't want it coming unraveled. So I am going to go ahead and knot it every time we change the color. It is what it is. I'm not worried about it. But if you are an anti-knotter, you don't have to, and you can just weave it in and do your thing. All right, so what comes next? Technically, we would have done this and boom, gone there, which is really weird because notice it has the chains here. And it should have them on this side. So again, a lot of patterns will have their inaccurate, like, you know, it's just not entirely accurate, but that's cool. We can easily work with that. So to start this row, we need to chain 3, and then we're doing 2 double crochets, and we're mimicking this popcorn stitch right here. So that is the symbol of a popcorn stitch, but we have to start with chain 3, double, double, and then we join them together. And then you'll notice we're chaining 3 right here. So 1, 2, 3, and then it's popcorn.
My yarn is splitting to bad.
Oh no! Try going slower and try rotating your hook down more, so it'll try to get this part of your hook. You want to try to get it to go into the loop more and not accidentally grabbing the side. And so if you rotate it down, you might be able to avoid the slip or the splitting. So rotating. Whenever I'm stitching, you'll notice I'm doing this motion. Unless you're holding it like a pencil, and then I can't help you because I don't know. I can't understand that. That would be a Shayna question, because I think she's the only pencil crochet holder I have in here currently. So we're going to do popcorn, chain 3, popcorn 2, popcorn 3, popcorn 2, popcorn 3, and popcorn. But don't worry, I will walk you through that. So let's start by doing our chain 3 and that weird half popcorn because it's our first one. 1, 2, 3, and we are turning. And we're going to do the 2 doubles because that's all that we have left and joining it and then chain 3. So yarn over, double crochet, but you don't finish it because remember this is a popcorn, so we've got to join them together. So yarn over and one more time, insert, pull up 1 and 2. So you've got 3 loops on the hook and we're going to pull through. And then we're just following our map. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How many do we skip? We are here on top of the stitch. Now we need to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going into that 7th. So we've chained 3 and I need you to jump all the way over to that 7th stitch. 1, I'll do it this way. 1, and remember, this is why I tell you guys, diagrams are literally just the map. So if you line everything up, it'll walk you through it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is where, because if you imagine it's stretched like that, this is where it lines up with what we're doing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. We've triple checked. We have quadruple checked. We will not have any issues. So now we're popcorning. What does that mean? Yarn over, insert your hook, and start a double crochet by pulling through 1, pull through 2, and don't finish that double. So you're going to let that sit right there. Yarn over again. Do another start of a double crochet by pulling up 1 and now 2. See how you have like these little 2 wannabe doubles? We're going to do one more because we need a third. 1, 2, and you'll see this mimics this first section right here. So we're going to yarn over, pull through all those, and then chain 2 and do one more popcorn. That's what you're seeing right there. So yarn over, pull through all of them. 1 and 2. And we're doing another popcorn. So pull up 1, pull up 2. It looks like the start of a double crochet, but we're not going to finish it. Do that 2 more times by pulling up 1, pulling up 2, and pull up 1 and pull up 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 loops are on the hook. And pull through all of them. And you'll see it should look similar to what we see right here. I mean, kind of. You got the popcorn, popcorn, chain 2, popcorn, popcorn. So now we're going to chain 3, and we're going to do another one here. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're skipping that 7 again. So let's do it. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is where I want to stitch. And I'm doing that popcorn, so yarn over, jump all the way over, grabbing both loops. Hopefully I was able to show you what we're doing here. Pull up 1, pull up 2, and we're doing that popcorn again. So we've started a double crochet, but we haven't finished it. Do that a second time and a third time. And now we're going to string all those together. Pull back our pattern. No different. Chain 2,
I'm making
popcorn.
supper, so yep, lurking eyes.
Yes. I mean, it wouldn't be you, Mrs. Detman, if you weren't lurking. 1, 2, popcorn. Pull up 1, pull up 2. Do that 2 more times. Pull up 1, pull up 2. You should have something that looks like that. And you're pulling through all 3. Okay, so we're in that repeat. So again, we're going to chain 3, skip over to the 7th. Now we're not here yet. We're going to do another one of these and we'll end up here when we get to the edge. So chaining 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's count our 7, find where we're going to stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7. I know. That's where we're going to stitch. Yarn over, going into that spot. Pull up 1, pull up 2.
True that.
Yarn over, pull up 1, pull up 2. Yarn over, 1, 2. All of them. Chain 2. And another popcorn. Another popcorn. And pull through all this. Okay, we're heading to the edge. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. You should be on the 7th stitch on the edge, but let's just double count, make sure we didn't do any like boo-boos, because you know, you can always crochet until, or I mean, you can always count until you start crocheting. We've learned that collectively too many times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. It looks like I have more, but remember, those are our starting chains, and when I use the foundation stitch, I usually do not include those. You could choose to use them as a stitch. That's entirely up to you. I just choose not to because I feel like once I pull this tight, it just kind of cleans up the edge a little bit better. So we're going to do our final popcorn. We're not chaining 2. We're not doing the second popcorn. We're just doing 1 popcorn right there. And then we are going to be switching back to our first color. Oh, they're just carrying it through, I think. That might, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to be switching back to that color. So before that last pull through, I'm going to switch. So pulling through 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. This would be my final pull through, so I'm going to just snip and bring my other color back into action, pulling through that last part with the next color. I am going to tie it in a knot. If you guys don't want to, just make sure you weave in your ends afterwards and secure it however you do. I'm going to be tying 3 just because, but you probably only need the 2. All right. Now what does it tell us to do? Well, that little circle is a chain, and then it tells us to single crochet on top of this popcorn. Chain 2, and this is a long double crochet, so we will get there in a second. So let's start by chaining 1. Let's put that first single in and chain 2, and then we'll talk about this. Chain 1, turn. And as you can see, right on top of this popcorn, we're going to do our single crochet, and we're chaining 2. Okay, so now we've got to do that weird long double crochet, and we are technically not able to flip the pattern because obviously the back of my page is blank. So how are we going to tackle this? We're looking for, this is going to be a long double crochet. It's going to go over that chain. That's why you'll notice it dropping down the way it does. And the best way that you can make sure that we're hitting these right is to count the bottom row. So this is where we're actually not just crocheting over this row, but you're also crocheting over the row down below. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to be hitting the 3rd and the 4th double crochet of this row with this long double. So we've already done our 2. 1, 2, 3. Let's find that 3rd stitch. And if you wanted to double check, it's in this one, 1, 2, and it's in the 3rd one from that. So 3rd and 4th. So here's where we're in. 1, 2, 3. We're going to crochet a long double into that one and a long double into that one. That leaves 2 more stitches before the clusters, 2 more before the clusters come in, which is perfectly accurate to the pattern. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. That's where we're aiming. To do the long double, it's no different than a double crochet. you're just reaching down. And I only left that in there so I could mark it for you guys. So let's pretend that you didn't see that. And you're just reaching down. And what's going to happen is you kind of stretch up a little bit. There's not really like an accurate rhyme or reason, but you're just going to kind of stretch that up a little bit and finish the double crochet. And you see I wrapped around that. This is kind of like a tapestry technique, I'm not gonna lie. Or not tapestry, a mosaic one, Mrs. Dutman, you know this. It's kind of a similar vibe to that. So you're just doing a normal double, but when you get to this part, pull up one, you're gonna pull it up just a little bit more than you probably normally would. And then you finish the double crochet by pulling through two and pulling through two. Okay? So you've done 2 long doubles, chain 2, single crochet. Where does that single crochet go? Into the chain 2 space. So you're going to chain 2. Here's our chain 2 space. Work a single crochet. So that's just where you're going to pull up 1, pull up 2. And that's going to start creating the first heart that we see here. Don't worry that this is kind of going wonky and doing this. Once we get some more rows under our belt, this will start shaping up a little bit better. So let's keep going. We've just done our single, chain 2, again, long doubles in those middle stitches with 2 on each side here, between here. So let's chain 2 and do our long doubles. 1, 2, where do I do the long doubles? Here's my cluster. 1, 2, 3, into that third one. So right into here. We're working around that chain. You're going to pull it up a little bit by just stretching it like so. Pull through 2. Pull through 2. Another yarn over, going into the next stitch on the row, 2 rows below. You're working around all of that. Stretch it up a little bit. Finish the double crochet. Da da da. Chain 2, and we're single crocheting into that chain 2 space again. How you guys holding up? I know I got 2 people stitching with me. Am I going too fast? Are you staying with me? And chain 2. And we're prepped for those long doubles again. So where do I stitch into? I find this space. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over. Find that spot. That's what she said. And you're stitching around that chain, pulling it up. Yarn over into the next stitch, pulling it up, and continuing. Chain 2. Single crochet in that chain space. Chain 2. No different. 1, 2, 3. We're stitching into that spot right there. Let me get that out of the way. And we're wrapping around. 1 double and 1 more double. And we're chaining 2, and you're going to stitch right on top of your final. It wants us to aim for the chain 3 space, and the only well, no. Yeah, because it tells us right here, here's that single, and it's right on top of the chain. If it wanted us to stitch on top of the popcorn here, it would put the single above that, but since it's actually above the chain, we want to target the chain. And to do that, here's the popcorn. You can tell because it's right here above that stitch. We're going to make sure to grab the top of the chain, which is that little guy right there. And to grab both of them, you can turn the chains.
Will you be on TT later?
That is the plan, yes. You could always turn it and try to grab that chain. For me, it's always easier to put my hook in the first loop, use the bottom of the hook to grab and pull away the bottom section, and then come back through. And now I've got my 2 chains on top, and I've got the bump on the back where I want it, and we're going to slip stitch, or no, I'm sorry, we're single crocheting into that stitch right there. So here's our single crochet on top of that. Now what we're going to do is chain 3. This counts as a double crochet, and we're going to double crochet across, and it wants 2 in each chain 2 section, 1 on each stitch, 2 in each chain 2 section, 1 on that stitch, 2, 2, 2. So we're going to do that together. Start by chain 3. We're not changing colors. 1, 2, 3. And turn. Doesn't look like this has a right side or a wrong side. This is cool. I definitely am going to have to use this stitch for something. All right, so our first 2 double crochets, because this one counts as a stitch, are going to be in the space. So here we go. In the space. 1 and 2. You could technically double crochet into the chain itself. I just don't want to, because that would just, it's not fun. I don't enjoy using the chains. That's why. It's just not an easy one to grab. It's not, you have to like kind of get your hook in there and stuff, so I try to avoid it when I don't have to. The next ones are going to be on top of our 2 stitches. So double crochet right on top of that stitch, and right on top of that stitch. And you'll see it'll naturally pull those into the right spot. Doing 2 more into our space. There's the 2. 1 more on top of this single stitch right here. And we're going to keep going all the way across. So 2 more in that space. One here, 1 here. 1. 1. This is very much like the cat stitch, by the way. So if you guys haven't tried that one, 2 more right here. If you guys haven't tried that one, I do have a tutorial. It is in the Get Hooked playlist. And the cat stitch has a very similar vibe as this. 1 on this single stitch right here. All right, 2 more in that space. One and 2. Two more in that space. One on top of that single stitch right there. 2. 1 here, 1 here. This is what's going to clean up this edge over here on this side. Is now we've got that chain 2 space, so we got to put 2 right there. And here's our single stitch that we're going to stitch right on top. Remember, don't finish, because we've got to switch colors again. So here we go. I am going to go ahead and cut. And we're going to join our white back in and do another round of those puff stitches and bring in some more hearts. So leave along whatever, along tail. There we go. Now you can see. I'm just going to take my fingers. I'm going to pin it down as if it was already connected to our project. Pull it through. And because we remember what we did over here, same here, we're in the repeat now. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to start our popcorn. So we can chain 3 and turn. 1, 2, 3. Before we turn, I am going to tie these 2 together so they are secure. Boop. And boop. One more just for good measure. Boop. Okay. And turn. Look at those hearts. It looks so cute. Okay. Now we're doing that mock popcorn stitch. So again, 2 double crochets that are strung together. So you're not going to finish the doubles until that final pull through. Yarn over. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yarn over. Insert hook. 1, 2. Don't finish that double.
There is a pattern like this one in the cord, but it uses velvet yarn.
Ooh. Pull up 1, pull up 2, and now you're pulling through all of those. Chain 3, popcorn, double, popcorn. I'm sorry, popcorn, chain 2, popcorn. We are 7 stitches across. No different than when we did this row. It's just we're in the repeat now. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This probably would look really good with any yarn, to be honest with you. I think this will look good on a beanie and in a scarf. I don't know how you would try to do a triangle. You would have to, ooh, because you have to add 7. Sorry, my mind's turning. All right, so we got to skip 7. We got to go into the 7 stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It should line up directly, but if you are just worried, you could always double count. And we're just going to work that first popcorn into that spot. I am going a little bit faster because you should have some practice with it by now. Going through, chain 2, and popcorn. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. I want to get us through another repeat so you know what to expect. And pull through. Chain 3, and we're skipping a ton. We should be over here somewhere, but just to make sure we grab the right stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7! Yarn over, find that spot, and work our first popcorn. Chain 2, and another popcorn. I saw a couple different ones, Mrs. Dutman, that looked similar. Some of them used half double crochets, some of them put singles in between, which just brings your rows kind of tighter together and whatnot. And then I saw a few different heart-shaped stitches similar, but where they did something else, I think here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boom, that's where our next heart is going to be once we chain 3, yarn over, and jump across. Here's our first popcorn. Pull through all of it. Chain 2, second popcorn in the same stitch. Yarn through, pull through all. Chain 3. We're going to do our last edge, which should mimic this, but just to make sure we didn't lose a stitch somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're now using the top of that chain. So that's why you always want to count, because if you stitch here, you're going to inadvertently start bringing everything in. But if you really make sure you grab that chain, you're going to keep your edges cleaner as you keep going. So that's why counting is good. 1, 2, and 3. Pull through all of them. Oh, wait, don't pull through all of them. Back it out. I forgot we got to change colors because we only have one row with the white. So before we pull through, we're going to cut. Boop. And yes, booping is a necessary sound. We're going to bring our other color in. Boop. Hold it as if the yarn is all connected. Hold both those strands. It just makes it easier. Now you're going to yarn over and pull through all. And then, if you remember, after that, we're going to chain 1, turn, single, chain 2, and then we're doing those long doubles again. 2, single, 2, long doubles. So I'll walk you through it again. Don't worry, I'm not leaving anyone yet. Single, let's go ahead and tie those. If you're opposed to knots, skip this step. 1, 2, 3 for good measure, even though it might be a little overkill. And turn. Now, if you guys are like looking at your piece and you're like, oh my God, it's warping. Guess what? So is mine. So is mine. It's doing that. I get it. The more we stitch, the more it cleans it up. So first single crochet is going to go right on top of the stitch. Chain 2. And remember, we're doing long doubles. Oh goodness, my pointer. It took off on me. On the 3rd and 4th stitch. So 1, 2, 3. And the next one will be in that one. So here we go. Yarn over. We're working a long double, so that just means you're pulling it up just a little bit taller. And finishing that double crochet. Going right back into the next stitch. Pulling it up. Boop, just a little bit taller. This is where you normally are for a double. So all I'm doing is just releasing my tension with my fingers to stretch out that stitch a little bit. Chain 2. Our single crochet goes into the chain 2 section. Chain 2. 1, 2, 3. This is where our doubles are. Wait, no, just kidding. 1, 2, 3. Right here. So yarn over. Grabbing all around that. Stretch it up. 2, 3. Yarn over. And stretch it up. Chain 2. Single crochet over here. Chain 2. 1, 2, 3. We're aiming for right here. Yarn over and grab that set of loops. Let's get some more yarn. And stretch that up a little bit. This would look really good with a variegated too. Stretch that up. And we're going to do the next row, and then I will leave you guys to your own demise, because by then you have enough of the repeat to really get going. 1, 2, 3. Pull it up. Going back in. Pulling it up. Chain 2, and remember we're doing our final single crochet into the chain on that popcorn. So 1, there's our little single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. How do you know? Because we just made it all the way across right here with our single crochet on top of those chains. We're actually on this row, it doesn't matter, it's the same. Chain 3, and then we're back into the 2 doubles on top of the stitches. 2 doubles in the space, 1 on top of the stitch. 2 doubles in the space, 1 on top of each stitch. And we're going to keep going the way across. So turn. If you guys are new here, just a heads up, this entire tutorial is going to be in the Get Hooked playlist as soon as we stop going live. So if you missed anything, you're not out of the loop per se. You're just going to be further back in time, but it's fine. It's fine. All of my things, all of my classes get dropped there, so you have free tutorials at your leisure. So 2 double crochets into the space. And then 1 on top of each stitch. Two double crochets into the space. 1 on top of that stitch. 2 in the space. This is starting to sound kind of off or awkward. 2 in the space, 1 on the stitch. And 1 on this stitch. And you're just going to keep repeating. So now the next question becomes, what do we want to do with this stitch? I think it would look really good on a beanie. Personally, I would like to throw it in a triangle, but that would take a lot of mathing. Because you have to increase by 7, and that's really hard to do the direction I want it to go. I'm going to have to do some thinking. Ooh, or even the hooded cowl. Could do a hooded cowl in this. Right there on top of the stitch. 2 in this space. There you go. One on each stitch. There's our last space. So there's 2 in that space. And boom. 1 in this final single crochet. If you were continuing, this is where you would want to switch colors again. So this is where you're going to want to switch colors again. I am just going to leave this as a swatch for right now. So I'm going to clip it, save this for classes and teaching. And now I've got to figure out what I want to use this stitch for now that it actually turned out the way I anticipated. So again, I went into this blind, guys. I've never done this stitch before. We saw, we had the diagram. The diagram is at the beginning, and also we have it here, and I can also drop the link in our cord of disses. If you guys want in, it is free. The link is pinned in the chat. You guys can join. We exchange things like this. We exchange things like pictures of our progress, ideas, things we want to learn, and all the nines. So if you want to get connected with a lot of stitchers and just better stretch your crochet skills, definitely get in the cord. Get in our Discord. If you guys want to try this and you haven't done so yet, I'll pull up the better image. Go ahead and take your screenshots one more time. And again, you're just adding multiples of 7 plus the 1. So you guys can turn this into a beanie. You can turn this into a scarf. You can turn this into a blanket. You can do all of the things. All right, hopefully you got your screenshot. Here's what it ends up looking like. I'm definitely going to have to use this on something. We're going to have to decide, guys. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to jump over to TikTok. This will be available afterwards. So I see a few people that just jumped in. Welcome, welcome. We actually learned this together live. This link will be available as soon as I hit end. So please subscribe. Please hit the notification. We have another live class on Thursday where we are taking our triangle shawl that we've been working on. It is a corner-to-corner stitch. And we are going to be putting our border on it, and we're going to be adding fringe together. So if you guys don't want to miss out on that, definitely turn on all your notifications and all the things, because we're going to be doing that this Thursday, so day after tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And then next Tuesday, I want to try to keep finding other little diagrams like this, just so we can kind of keep teaching ourselves. I'm going to call it Teach Myself Tuesday, and you guys can just kind of join me along as I stretch my skills, because I've never done this before, and it turned out freaking amazing. So we need to figure out what we're going to throw it on, because now we need to put it in a project. That's our next little dilemma. Huh. All right. Hopefully you guys were able to stitch along. Christy and Miranda Ray, please post pictures of your guys' progress in the cord. I would love to see how you guys were able to follow along. And I'm going to go ahead and end this live since I don't see any questions. And that will allow everybody to start using it and replaying it and doing all the things so they can stitch it. Yes. All right, guys, I will see you Thursday, and then I will see you on TikTok. So if you guys aren't there, go ahead and look me up on TikTok, Genetics Creations. It's all the same, and the links are all in my bio. I will see you guys soon. Taking a quick break, and then we're going live on the other platform. Peace out, stitches. And that